Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Fully loaded. It's your brother King Simon. What's up? Welcome live from the mathematical universe. Right now, I'm only broadcasting on IG. So if you could hear me, put the number 1 in the chat. IG, if you could hear me, put the number 1 in the chat. If you could hear me, I'm only broadcasting on IG at this time. Put the number 1 in the chat if IG can hear me. I'm only broadcasting on IG, and there's a slight delay. I'd like to let y'all know that first. So if I don't respond to your questions right away, there's a slight delay. Okay, there is a slight delay. And let me put on right there on the post. Let me pin that up on the post. All right, I just pinned up what I'm speaking about. Up and coming on KSP. For 2024, the 44-8 resonator. Yeah, this is the year. This is one of those years. And I want to make sure everybody understand that I'm not one of those numerovators or those numerologists that just based on 1 year and all that kind of stuff. Each year has a theme, both positive and negative. I always tell that to people. And, people always say, oh, this might be the year of the reveal and all that. Last year was the year of the reveal. The year before that was the year of the reveal. The year before that, for the last 100 years, those have been years of reveal. So I'll keep it real with you. I'm not going to say, the 8 is the year of the, no, the 8 is not the only year. It's just that each one of them have a different theme going into different vibration. But every year is a year of reveal. Like 7, like 2023, which was a set, which was connected to the number 7 or 34 on another level, if you do the math. You know what I'm saying? That was also because, remember, 7 is the number of secrets being revealed. Go figure that one. All right. So if what 8 is, you got to remember what 8 is. 8 in the number is revealing what should be your assets and what should be your liability in your life. It reveals the liabilities, and you're going to have to make a decision whether you're going to release those liabilities or keep them hanging around you. And it's going to be people, places, and things. I got to be real with people. So that's a revealing. So in 2022, that was the 6th year that it added up to, but you also seen those 2s along the way. So that the 2022 revealed things about family, things about your health, things about people, things about the earth, things about different things that was going on around the world. If you look at the theme of every year, that adds up to a particular number. So 2025 will be that 9-year cycle. But you know me already. I add the 20 plus the 25, and that equals the 45. So that shows me another level of what we're going to look at for the number 9 year, which is 2025. And also I look at the 20 and I look at the 25. Again, that 25 shows up as its own power and 20 shows up as its own power, saying that we're always going to be in these 2000s that we've been in for the last 24 years. Because 20 is the leading number, there's always going to be alerting you or allowing you to be aware, because that, if you read my book, New Motivation for Mental Stability, and you apply the interpretations to each year, when you see a 20 or a 25, or when you see a 7 or whatever, when you start adding and all that kind of stuff, remember 20 is the symbol of divine awakening and clear judgment. So if that's the case, since we've been in the 2000s, there's been divine awakening and clear judgment. Have to be discernments, have to reflecting on rebirth of the spirit. So a lot of people have become, quote unquote, conscious, whether they become conscious of the negativity that they want to continue to do or the positivity that they want to continue to do. It has its duality. And once you understand those things, you'll be all right. You'll understand, you'll understand, and you'll understand. All right. So in my book, I talk about, and then of course, let's like 2025, if we're going into 2025. So you mix the symbols that I talk about, because remember, numbers are representing of symbols that can be interpreted due to what the patterns and the cycles and the sequence have shown many of us that are studying these occult or metaphysics or esoteric sciences. So if 20 is divine awakening and judgment from that perspective, then when we say 2024, we're actually activating that particular frequency, 20 and 24. So 20 and 25, which 20 and 25 is the symbol of strength, experience, and observation. Also, it's a symbol of endurance and strife and trials. So when you see 20, 25, that means divine awakening, clear judgment of the strength, experiences, and observation, endurances, and strife and trial. So when you go in my book, I know people buy books like these to look directly to their numbers and look at their family number, look at their friends' numbers, but you got to learn how to be objective and know how to pull what you need to interpret the year that we're in as a full theme. So even though this year is adding up to a number 8, in my book, you can go to the number 8. Instead of just reading it because you're born on the 8th or whatever, just go to the number 8 and it'll tell you. The number 8 is a symbol of evolutionary development and balance. That's what I said. And it talks about the flawless symbol of balance, but it also represents the cause and effect. So it's important that you put out the good causes so you can get the best effect out of it. So please, when you get my book, think outside of the box, because I am born under the symbol which we call Aquarius, misnomer Aquarius, the sign which we misnomer Aquarius, but I'm vibrating with that. I am not the sign, you are not the number. You are the human or the being that came through at that particular time and that particular date under that particular sign or number. That's there to guide you and show you the way if you're willing and open to receive the way. Positive and negative. I don't play with this. I'm real about what I do. You understand? It's very important that y'all recognize the different levels of how to read any numerology book, not just mine, but how to read any numerology book. Because I could take any one of those books and interpret the year or the date or the month or whatever, what have you, in relations to numbers. So it's not my book only, because you could go to any book and actually, but I made sure I wrote it in a certain way that you can pull the interpretations out first. And then along the line, I'll say people that was born on this number should do this and do that. That's what I say in the book. When you look at my book, I'll say, and then I'll go on, I'll tell you what's the symbolism of that particular number. And then along the chapter, along that paragraph, I'll say the number 7 people are considered to be researchers, but you can take that word researcher out and interpret it for a number 7 year or a number 7 day. Philosophers, you could take that number and take it out. Metaphysics teachers, you could take those numbers out and just represent for that day and that year and all that kind of stuff. That's how you got to know how to think outside of the box, pull and extract the interpretations out of it to serve the theme of the day, the year, the month, the person, whoever, because numbers don't lie. People lie to themselves. If you understand what I'm saying, please put the number 1 in the chat if you understand clearly what I am saying. Think outside of the box, people. I love when people think outside the box because I'm an outside of the box thinker. Although the sign can be considered the sign Aquarius can be considered one of those, what they call them, fixed signs, but yet it is known as a rebel. It's known as a rebeler. So it's there to be the rebel. It's going to do things different than other people do because that number 4 is connected to the sign of Aquarius also. So I don't care what number I'm born under in the sign of Aquarius, because 4 is a dominant number in the sign or connected to the sign of Aquarius. 4 deals with the weird, not the weirdo, although you can become a weirdo under the number 4, but the weird, which is more somebody predictive of their own fate, doing things differently and they might do something totally different than what you told them to do to create their own path, their own fate. Big up to Minister Jew that was breaking down that word weird, because he said God is weird. And interesting that he say that God is weird. And I like to just look at the word weird for a reason. He said that God is weird. And when you look at the numbers connected to the word weird, here you have in the Pythagorean system and the Chaldean system, using those two systems, 5, 6, 5, 5, 9, 1, 9, 2, 4, 4. So let's go to the oldest system. Let's go to the oldest system and break down the word weird, where we see the 6, 5, which is 11, plus the 3, plus the 4 equals 18. Now, those who study tarot know that the number 18 is connected to the moon, where a lot of different activities and a lot of weird activities happen when the moon comes closest to the earth. But it adds up to the number 9, and 9 is the highest single digit double number on the chart. So that's very important to look at. But let's also look at the Pythagorean system, which adds up to a 32, which is a 5. Now, understand when you start seeing the 32 or the 5, or start seeing there's a certain esoteric meaning behind the 32. So a deeper meaning, which I don't want to go into that there. But let's go straight to the number 5, because 5 deals with flexibility, adaptability. So in your weirdness, and 5 is one of the most creative numbers in the number chart. That's one of the known creative numbers in the chart. So they can adapt and become, they can be like a chaos energy, but yet the chaos that have some type of order or need some type of order, because sometimes the chaos energy can be all over the place. That's why 5 is known as the jack of all trade, masters of none. But it's better to master than one. That, you would say, is something that the creator would be connected, because the creator has a connection to every one of us. So it's adaptable. The creative energy and force is weird in the sense that it's adaptable to all of our energies. But yet the 9 says it's a higher level, higher understanding, higher reach that you must reach for when you're dealing with a weird energy. So if you're not a weirdo, which adds another dynamics to it, if I started breaking down that number, which is interesting because if I add the 6 to the weirdo, it would add up to a number 11 because 6 plus 5 is 11. If I add the 7 to the weirdo, that would add up to a number 16, which is a number 7. So, which 16 is the number of fatality and 11 is deal with deception on the negative of being a weirdo. Again, 11 deals with deception on its negative. So if you become a weirdo and be a deceiving, treacherous mother effer, or father effer, or your 16 is dealing with fatality because you didn't plan and you like to hide and keep secrets, that's where the weirdo can come in. Man, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And that's just brief. I could get a little deeper, but I just want to stay right where I'm at right now with the word weird and weirdo. So we got to be careful because there's a thin line between weird and weirdo. There's a thin line between weird and weirdo. If you understand what I'm saying, put the number 1 in the chat. I'm only broadcasting on Instagram. This is not on YouTube, only on Instagram. If you understand, there is different vibrations between the word weird and the word weirdo. If you understand what I'm saying from a mathematical perspective, because this is live from the mathematical universe, your brother King Simon, boom. And some people mistaken people for weirdos before, people that they'll consider a person that don't want to be around people and in their own self, they'll consider them a weirdo when they should not consider them a weirdo. And some people will be considered weird when they're really weirdos. I mean, it's interchangeable depending on the intent that person had, because I would be considered weird when I was young because when people come over, I'll play for a minute and then I'll disappear in my room and go play by myself. People call me weird, but not a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Now the weirdo stuff is the stuff that's being revealed all in social media and all the madness. That's some weirdo stuff. That's where the deception 7-11 are 2 numbers of deception and secrecy. So I'm not surprised that the weirdo stuff is showing up, but you got to remember the weirdo stuff was showing up from number 7 year. In the 7 year, 2023, that's when a lot of the weirdo stuff was going. And then if you look back in another number 7 year, 2005, look back at those years and start looking at what was going on. What was some of the weird stuff that was going on in 2005? Start looking back and you'll start seeing the theme of it shows up, especially in major media, especially in movies, especially in music. So if you go back to those times when those 7 or that 11 energy resonated, then you'll see the negative of it and you see the positive of it. So there's a negative of the weird or weirdo, and there's a positive of the weirdo, because sometimes people are considered weirdo because they're not doing the regular thing. And I was listening the other day. I was coming in from the bus from the Greyhound early in the morning, because I came back from Florida early in the morning. I got in about 4:33. Got to the house by 5:33. But the lady Erica, I remember her name, the Uber driver Erica, the Lyft driver Erica, she was playing a psychologist. She was running through different things. I guess she likes to learn while she's driving, and that's good. That's what I like to do too. So she was playing something that really caught my attention about the narcissistic way. A psychologist was on there, a world-renowned psychologist. I forgot that person's name, a white woman, of course. And she said something very key that I've been saying to people, and I said on the live before, that people are not born narcissistic. People are not born narcissistic. It is developed over time. And I've been saying that to a lot of people. People are like, that's why I don't adhere to people being born gay. I don't believe that. I don't hear that. There's no one that just jump a baby coming out of a womb don't just jump on a baby thinking that they're gonna have sex, because that gay is supposed to be a sexual preference. So I don't believe in that. I don't understand. I don't adhere to that. It is developed over time, and it could have already been in your bloodline. That's why you picked up on it, and because you wasn't able to balance it out, you just went where you had to go, and that's your business. Respect to all of y'all that are doing what you got to do in your life, because this is your dispensation of time. This is you. You will answer to that in your own way. And like Dr. Delbert Blair says, there is no truth until you decide what truth is. Dr. Delbert Blair used to say that. There is no truth until you decide what truth is. And remember, truth, facts, and evidence are three different things. Truth, facts, and evidence are three different. My cousin tried to tell me that. She tried to tell me, oh, yeah, I remember this little girl. How old was that little girl? You talk, that little boy or whatever you say that's gay, that she looking at him from when they're 4 or 5 years of age. That's a developing thing. That child is still developing, because it could be watching the mother all the time. It could be watching the father all the time. It could be it develops over years. So I don't get into that type of argument. But the lady said that narcissism, people are not born narcissists. People are not born narcissistic. You understand? So I'm very careful about labeling some. People may have narcissistic ways. And like my dear friend who I've had on my program numerous times, Dr. Alicia Watkins, she has said on her own podcast that, people are just throwing this word. And the same thing that white lady said while I was driving the Lyft, while I was coming in on Lyft, people just throw this word. She wished that they would get rid of the word, because people are just throwing it in the most oddest way, the most weirdo type way. When everybody has a narcissistic way about them. Everybody can have one of those narcissistic ways that could pop, because, and then she was talking about, it's really, she said something about it should not be considered a diagnosed as some type of disease. That's what she was saying. Well-known psychologist and all that kind of, I forgot even her name. I might have to go and get Jeff Gardere on here, because he was somebody that I worked with, Dr. Jeff Gardere, who's somebody I worked with back in the day on WWRL. But I'm going to have to get a reputable 30 to 40-year psychologist on here and really break it down, because it is being thrown around in the weirdest way. And these are new words that some of the women takes on, because a man might not want to do what that woman want him to do, act like a woman, and they'll call him narcissist. Just because I don't want to be metrosexual or be you or be semi-homosexual, you can't call me a narcissist because I stand up for my manhood. And some women will call a man a narcissist because he's standing up for his manhood and he's not bowing down. Like they would call Dr. Phil Valentine a narcissist. And Dr. Phil Valentine is far from a narcissist. He understands manhood, he understands womanhood, and he understands the balance of it. His woman is the feminine part of him, and he is the masculine part of her, and they find the balance on how to complement each other. People forgot that particular word, complementing each other. That's what we forgot how to do. That's what we forgot. If you understand what I'm saying, put the number 1 in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. And everybody have their opinion, and they can have their opinion. But I am not going to try to be my woman. I don't want to be my woman. I want to respect her energy so she can be allowed to be a woman, as she shouldn't want me to be a woman. I don't want her to be a man. But due to circumstances, some women has taken on the man role temporarily, because it's not full time for them. Because they have, and that's why they give them over to schools, or give them over to martial arts, or give them over to different programs. So a man's energy can be over them, and I understand that. Even when me and my last son was going at it, and he didn't want to deal with it, because he's going through his teenage years, his mother decided to give him a male therapist, And that was good. Big up to Brother Jonathan, who was a male therapist from out of Jamaica. But this time he got a female therapist. And I really believe that female therapists should be for females and male therapists should be for males, because only a man can really identify totally with what this man is going, this little boy is going through. And that therapist that was dealing with my son, that guy, Brother Jonathan, he went through the same thing with his son. He went through it with his father. Because yes, I come from a rough upbringing with Jamaican father and Jamaican mother and all that kind of stuff. Of course I did. And yes, you want to impart this type of methodology to your children because it was one of the ways that worked for me, even though I became rebellious, even though I became weird in the sense of that number 9 can be number 9 and 5 are fearless numbers when it comes to that word weird. Those are fearless numbers. And those two numbers just under the word weird are dealing with communication. And sometimes we want to learn on our own, especially as men. I left and ran away from my mother's house at 16 and a half, 17 years of age. And then I stayed with my grandmother briefly, where my cousins, the male cousins, was living there also, because I needed that more male income. And my mother's side is more female and my father's side is more male. Because I was looking for male role models in the wrong places. I was hanging out with posses, Jamaicans. We got Jamaicans and Caribbean called posse. We had the P posse, party posse, the pervy posse. We call ourselves all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was going down the wrong road, carrying weapons, robbing and stealing in that neighborhood under my mother's tutelage. Not my father, who was a former military and all that, because he was getting married. His wife at that time didn't want us to be around him and all that kind of stuff. Had to sneak to come see us and all that kind of craziness. So now that I understand this on a higher level, from a mathematical level, I'm able to interpret it for my own self and see that, this is some interesting stuff. So the year, going back to 2024, let's go back to 2024. Let's go back to 2024. So the 2024 is a theme that reveals old things coming back to light. That 44-8, that number 8 is old things, old bills, old people, old friends start showing up. And this has already happened to me. And as January 1st came in, I'm like, why is this person calling me? Who's this? And what? People coming out of the woodworks, texting me and all. I'm like, what the hell? Saying they used to work with me in the reggae world, calling me by Simon Templar and all that. I'm like, what the hell? Just popping up out of the woodworks. So the number 8 is one of those things that it's not just money and power and those type of frequencies. It's also reminding you of things that can come back to your life, in and out, came back to your life. People, places, and things that come back to your life can either help you, that come back to help you, or haunt you. Pay close attention to that. Situations, people, places, and things can come back to either hurt you or haunt. It could either help you or haunt you or hurt you in some way. Not hurt, but like physically and try to, but more hurt what you're doing or what kind of business you're in. You got to pay attention to that also. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to really understand the different dynamics of the numbers and why numbers don't lie. People lie to themselves. And thank you very much to Holly Hammett for sharing a Cash App. Hey, Cash App is definitely accepted on this platform. Cash App is definitely accepted on this platform. Thank you very much, Holly Hammett. I know you're not related to Bobby Hammett, but the topic today is upcoming on KSP, King Simon Presents, for 2024, the 44-8 Resonator. Now Now that I went through all that, I stood on my soapbox. Thank you for allowing me to stand on my soapbox, Instagram, and I'm broadcasting only on Instagram. Just checking out what I'm doing here on Instagram. You know, boom, boom, boom. There's different things I could do. Hold on, let me see. I can do that. I found out I can allow other people on, I believe. Let me see how it looks on Instagram. You know, thank you very much. You know, how would you counteract the negative side of the? Okay, boom, yeah. Boom, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad somebody asked that question. Those are fun questions. Somebody just asked on Instagram, how would you counteract the negative side of the 8? By maintaining a positive outlook, by maintaining a positive mental attitude, by constantly bombarding your mind before you go to bed intentionally, like the late Reverend Ike used to say, go to bed with intentions to even dream about positive, productive. And even if it takes a little time, it's not going to happen immediately, because if you've been constantly inundated with negative stuff, negative music, negative vibration, negative family members, negative, it's going to take a while to burn all that out. Sometimes people have to move into their own room. Sometimes people got to move into their own space, get away. Because if, according to the studies on MIT back in the day, that says it takes 16 positive to knock out 1 negative, it might be up to 25 now, 25 positive to knock out 1 negative. If that is the case, according to their study, if that is the case, that means we that are in a society that's so full of so much things transmitting and receiving, because the brain is a transmitter and a receiver. So if the brain is a transmitter and a receiver, brothers and sisters, people, friends, enemies, and foes, if the brain is a transmitter and a receiver of different messages, then we got to protect the brain and the mind at all costs. I know mind and brain is different. Brain is what holds this, but the mind is the electromagnetized thing that picks up and transmits. So you got to protect their mind at all costs. I hope that answered your question, One Yardie. You got to protect. And is it easy? No, because I had to overcome. Let me tell you something. Back in my club day, after I left out of the nation and all that, I'm glad I still had some of the principles of the nation with me. When I left in 95, 96, I went back to the club to go make money and do what I got to do. I was going through a separation and all that. But I went back. I was able to morph right back into the club scene, because I used to be in the club scene back in the day. And I was born in a nightclub, but I was able to morph right back in the club scene, and they seen my work at SOBs and Temptations and all these major venues that I was emceeing and partying at. They seen my work, but I was a person that would use that biatch. Every other word was biatch, or nigga. Then one day I said, man, I think it was one of my girlfriends at that time. Matter of fact, it was my son's mother. It was my son's mother, to be exact. So my last son's the one I just spoke about. She said, "Why are you always cursing all the time?" She just pinpointed, and she's very intuitive. She's born on the 18, and 18 is one of those intuitive numbers connected to the moon, according to tarot. So she picked it up while we was in the bed, and we was bed talking, and she was cussing. That I'm cussing, every other word was cussing, and I had to catch myself. And sometimes you have to listen to your woman, because sometimes your woman sees something about you that you don't see, and vice versa. Sometimes a man sees something about you that you don't see. And that's what the balance is, and that's what Dr. Phil Valentine also understood when you read his book, The Wounded Womb. When you read his book, The Wounded Womb. And please, by all means, like, subscribe, and share. Please share this video, this Instagram with everybody, because I'm going to tap into some stuff that's going to be for everybody. It's not just for conscious people. Remember, I done changed it to conscientious people. I'm not doing the conscious stuff with y'all no more. I'm not doing the conscious stuff with y'all. I'm the conscious brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm conscientious, because the word conscientious means a person who a person wishes to do what is right, especially to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. I'm part of the conscientious community. Put it like that. I'm part of the conscientious community. And if you ain't about doing right, then get the heck off of my life. That's what it means, conscientious. If you ain't about wishing to do what is right, then get off of my life. I don't need your crazy ass on my life. So I'm part of the conscientious community, not the conscious community. You say that again. I'm part of the conscientious community, not the conscious community, because conscious only means you are aware of your surroundings. That's all it means. I'll probably try to butcher up the word conscientiousness, but you can't change the meaning of the word, which they have done over years. People have done, changed the So I'm part of and put that word up there. I'm part of the conscientious community. You make sure I'm clear on that. Which means wishing to do right, especially, put it in there. I'm going to start showing that regularly because people don't understand that I'm not into the bull crap with none of these Negroes or nigglets anymore. Boom, 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 boom. And if you're down with the conscientious community, put a number 1 in the chat. Conscientious community, wishing to do what is right. So it should be a community of people, whether it's online or offline, wishing to do what is right. If you're down with the conscientious community, put a number 1 in the chat. If you're down with the conscientious community, put a number 1 in the chat. Everybody saying 1, 1, 1. They understand. They understand. People understand. And I want you to share this with conscientious people. Because I'm not clout chasing. I'm not chasing ambulances and all that. I didn't even post anything really about Cat Williams. I might mention it inside of one of the live, but I don't put Cat Williams in my posts because people chasing that in class. No, man, I'm part of the conscientious community. And if Cat is conscientious of what he's doing, then hey, I can respect that. I can respect what he's doing. I can respect that. So big up to Cat Williams, but I'm not going to change this title from what I did and said I spoke about Cat Williams so I can get a bunch of hype and get a bunch of likes like people be doing. I don't do that. I don't have to do that. That's why this platform is called, everybody repeat after me, this platform is called King Simon Presents Only Quality People and the Numerovation Nation on my YouTube channel. That's what's broadcast on those 2 YouTube channels. And if y'all that are on Instagram wants to get to my YouTube channel, please go to Linktree/King Simon the Numerovator. King Simon the Numerovator. Now, I'm one person that will break down the numbers of what a Cat Williams is going through, or what a Taraji P. Henderson is going through, or what an Oprah is going through, but I'm not chasing them. I'm not chasing. That's politics. Uh-oh. 202, baby. 202. 202. I'm not chasing them. I wish you could bring me online. I wish you could me on. Well, I could shout you out, Matt Jones, but hey, I'm not doing any call-ins right now. Matter of fact, my call-in phone is not even. It's here. I could do it. I could do the call-in, but right now I'm on Instagram right now, and I'm only broadcasting through thing. And I'm not just doing any birthdays today, so please don't put up any birthdays. If you're here to listen to get respect and get some information from my perspective, from a mathematical perspective, don't put your birthday up. I'm not doing any birthdays. I'm being real. I'm being honest with you. Somebody who constantly does that is beautiful, and Lloyd constantly does that. If you go to Lloyd's platform, Lloyd Strayhorn, who is one of my teachers, you can always go to his platform. He's lloydstrayhorn.com, or you can purchase his books, or go to his Numbers and You on YouTube, where he talks about it all the time. His Instagram is straight that. Me, I'm a multifaceted promoter / numerovator / teacher / student / So those that are new to my channel, pardon me, but I don't just keep on doing numbers just because I do numbers and words. I show the theme of the words. I show how it's connected and how to use the numbers. I'm more detailed when it comes to showing people certain things so they can be guided, without always just using your birthday and your name. Sometimes you got to recognize that there's words that we use every day that has mathematical vibrations on it. But getting back to the point, background people. Who cares? Who give a damn? Background people. What about the people that are most high wants to bring the news to the people, the truth? What about the hell with movie stars and all that? Okay, what is boom, 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 boom. What I want to know is, my teachings is to guide people with numbers, but yet express my experiences with people. Now, somebody like Matt Jones. Now, let me show you something with Matt Jones' energy. Matt Jones has 53 at the back. I'll show you. Those are, and in numerology, that number 53 is a communication number. That's how deep that is. But it tells me 53, which adds up to an 8, all about the one thing about people born with or connected to that 53 in any way. 53 is a number that adds up to an 8, and 8 is one of the numbers of debates. They like debates. They like arguments. They like a good debate, but it doesn't have to go there all the time. I know I've done this for many years, and I've studied the 8s, the 9s, the people connected to that. You find that they like good debates. They like good arguments, and that's cool. That's cool. It's cool. And if people want to find out, like Matt Jones is talking about, if you want to find out the truth about Black people, it's already out there. It's been out there. I talk about the truth. The numerology is something that came from Black folks. The study of numbers and patterns and cycles and sequences, what I teach, comes from Black people originally, because one of the oldest that Pythagorean got all of his knowledge from was the Black Chaldeans. The Black Chaldeans were one of the originators of recognizing patterns, cycles, and sequences of numbers way before, probably 5 to 1,000 years, way before Pythagorean was even born. The Black Chaldeans. So you got to know your history. Oh, yeah, I know my history. I got books behind me to show me that I got the history. I got Renoko Rashid. I got all that. But my job on this planet, Mr. Matt, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Matt, my job on this planet, Mr. Matt, is to help motivate you to be your best with the numbers that you carry, whether it's in your name or your birthday. And that is what I am here, one of my reasons, but also sharing my experiences with people so they can relate to what's going on out there. That's why people like me wrote books. Mental stability, numerovation for mental stability. So I'm on my healing kick right now. Dr. Khalid Muhammad, a great historian and teacher back in the day, told us that all of us are saints, saviors, soldiers, scholars, healers, and killers. Every one of us have that potential, man, woman, and child. Saints, saviors, soldiers, scholars, healers, and killers. I just pray every day that one of those things come out at the appropriate time. I don't want to bring my killer instinct out when I'm supposed to be a saint. I don't want to bring out my saint instinct when I'm supposed to be a soldier. I don't want to be a soldier when I'm supposed to be a healer. That's why it's all encompassed, so I'm able to tap into every one of those. So if you want to go and study and choose a platform to go study in, hey, that's good. And whatever your family has done, and if you believe in religion, I tell people the name, if you look at the etymology of religion, you're going to be very surprised. So you might believe in a heavenly father where somebody else might believe in a heavenly mother. Some might believe in the heavenly mother and father. The important part is that you believe in something outside of yourself or inside of yourself. That's that energy that's connected to your microcosmic universe as well as the macrocosmic universe. People can call it whatever you want to call it. People have a church in the name of Beyonce. Some people worship different entities and different things. You know, I tell people you have to learn to unlearn. You have to unlearn so you can relearn. Because again, the word truth and facts and evidence, the words truth, facts, and evidence. Truth, facts, and evidence have three different meanings. Three different meanings. So, because your truth might be different than your parents' truth or your sister's truth or your brother's truth, but what are the facts? And are those facts backed by evidence of the fact that can make it true? Because everybody can see that truth. Because everybody be able to see that truth. So go look up the word. Go look up the word. Go look up the word. Go look up the words fact, truth, and evidence. Look up the word facts, truth, and evidence. Say that again. Go look up the word facts, truth, and evidence. Once you look up those words, then make your distinguish of what are we believing in? Is it the truth? Is it a fact? Does it have evidence to back all of it? Because like Dr. Blair told us back in the day, one of the greatest metaphysics teachers out there, he said, there is no truth until you decide what truth is. And your experience and your evidence that made you reach to that truth, that became a fact for you, might be different from me. That's why you have Muslims and Christians and Hebrews arguing with each other about books that are similar to each other. It's crazy. That's why I got out of that. I left it alone. That's why I got out of it. I left it alone. Very important that we recognize how we're moving nowadays. And the only purest thing so far that I've discovered, other than what Terrence Howard is putting out there, I love Terrence Howard. That's why I respect his master number game. Mathematics has been the truest form, especially with the addition and the subtraction. The multiplication is kind of funny right now because what Terrence Howard showed us, man, is powerful because, like he said, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, how can 1 times 1 equals 1? It don't make sense if multiplication is exaggerated addition. So it's supposed to exaggerate it a little more. So it should be 2 3/4, at least 1 or 1 3/4 or 2 3/4. It should be that. But these computer, these things have been programmed by someone to say that 1 times 1 equals 1. You know what I'm saying? So Terrence Howard is right. I got his book. He's right on what he broke down. So really, 1 times 1 can't equals 1 if multiplication is to multiply and add more to it. 1 plus 1 equals 2. How can 1 times 1 equals 1? That don't make sense. So Terrence Howard is right on that fate. Born March the 11th, master number frequency. So you can go and get his book. His book is actually free. Go online, Google up Terrence Howard's book, download the book for free, and read it for yourself. It's a real simple read. It's a really light read. It's not that heavy, but he does make a good point from a mathematical perspective, and I love it. He does make a good point from a mathematical perspective, and it's time for you to realize how important it is to understand your mathematical evidence. Your mathematical evidence. Because what I've noticed, even in religion, is that if you believe in Jesus, or you believe in Moses, as spelled in the English Bible, you're going to find something real interesting. If you believe in Muhammad, as spelled in the English Quran, you're going to find something real interesting. In one of these systems, Jesus adds up to the name 11, the number 11. In one of these systems, Moses adds up to the number 22. In one of these systems, Muhammad is added up to the number 29, which equals 11. Is that a coincidence? Is that a coincidence that every one of these prophets of the three major religions in the English language and under the English lexicon adds up to a master number? Put it in the chat. Is it a coincidence? Let's see the systems. 4, 4. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you the breakdown. One of them is it a coincidence? Some coincidence. One of them adds up to the number 22. Okay, 11. Okay, what's it? 11 plus, I'm doing Moses first. 8 plus 3. Right here adds up to a number 11 in the Chaldeans. I'm sorry. Doing Moses first. When you add, that's 11. And then 5 plus 6 is 11. 3 and 3 is 6. That's 22. So in the Chaldean system, Moses adds up to the number 22. Let's look at Jesus. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is the Pythagorean system. This is the oldest system, the Chaldean system. I'm going to show you and prove to you through the math and the study of numbers that someone that put these together knew what they was doing. This is 3, this is 6, this is 1, this is 3. And you can look, and y'all can go online and look up the Chaldean and the Pythagorean system. I'm not holding of it. I'm not the holder of it. So when you look at the Chaldean system, the bottom one, that's 6 plus 9 plus 3. Now this adds up to 18. But up here, 5 and 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. But in the Pythagorean, it's a number 11. I'm just showing you. Now we're going to go to Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon all of them. Moses is 10, 15, 16, 17. And there's an interpretation around this too, around all the numbers that's not adding up to a master number. There's an interpretation to all of them and why they held those numbers also. Muhammad, 4, 4, 3, 6, 8, 5, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4. Let's add up the word Muhammad. 10 plus 6 plus 8 plus 5 equals 29, which is 11. 2 plus 9 equals the 11. Let's go into the Pythagorean system, the one on top. 7 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5 equals 29 again. So Muhammad in both systems, as written in Maulana Ali Quran, one of the best Qurans to have in the English language, Muhammad adds up to a master number 11, as pronounced Muhammad, not Mohammed. It's mu. Because when you look at the Arabic language, it's the vowel over it, because they usually don't have vowels in the Arabic language. A, E, I, O, U is not in the Arabic language. They have to add those symbols of when they're adding, and it's the Muhammad. That's how it goes. So in both systems of numerology, Muhammad adds up to 29, which is 11. And Jesus, in the Pythagorean system, it adds up to 11, and it adds up to a number 9 in the Chaldean system. In the Pythagorean system, Moses adds up to the number 17, which is the 8, and Moses adds up to 22. Every one of them, you find master numbers, the 3 major religions. Is this a coincidence? Like I said, you see what Matt says? Matt likes to argue, like I told you. You've proven my point. Matt's like a good debate. I know you like a good debate, Matt. I know you put up. You like a good debate because you're the one. You're the one that's mostly. You're the one that's mostly putting it up there. But I'm looking at the language that it's been written in. You didn't even hear what I'm saying. In the English language of what it's been written in. None of these names, Moshe and Isa or Yeshua and Muhammad, is not the same. It is not the same. But in the English transliteration of the language, I see you're not listening. In the English transliteration of the language, that's what I see. That just let me know that the lexicon writers that did the translation from the original Hebrew or the Arabic or the Amharic or the Amharic, they know something. They know something more than we know, because most of us that talk that religious stuff don't have the deeper access and did not translate or do not study language at all. Do not study language. I'm showing you from an English perspective, because I know in Hebrew, that's not the word. I know that's not the word in Hebrew or Arabic. That's not the word in Hebrew and Arabic, because when I was younger, I studied the Hebrew and the Arabic. I was in a community called the Nubian Islamic Hebrews. I studied this from Arabic and Hebrew. I'm showing you what they did in the English language, but I'm showing you that there was still power, and they gave them the master numbers in all these 3 major religions. That's how deep it gets.
Let's go.
Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. This is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com, or Linktree at King Simon the Numeral-Ovation. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numeral-Ovation for Mental Stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now. It's the Numeral-Ovational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022, and get my books on Amazon now.